Okay, good morning. We're going to go ahead and start. We were just informed that this session is being recorded, so we're going to put on our best act here. No, I'm just kidding. This is Silvia Reyes from the San Diego County Office of Education, and I am Cristina Alfaro from San Diego State University. And we are actually really excited to share our project with you, and so we're very happy that you were able to come this morning. The title of our presentation is Transforming Education for English Learners Through the Common Core State Standards. This is a 5-year federal grant that we received from the Office of OELA, and we have been working in a collaborative effort. What we would like to share with you before we begin is the context of what this study is, because it's one of those things that so many times we begin wonderful projects that begin to make an impact in the community and in the state, but it's not documented. And so if you don't document things, it's like if it never happened. So what we have started to do since the onset of the program is that we have been taking a lot of data, pre-assessment data, and then post-assessment data. And we have right now what we're going to present are the first 2 years of the project, and with 3 more to go. Actually, it's 2.5 and 2.5 more to go. Okay, so the context of the study is, of course, we're looking at our concern. The way that this evolved was that the Common Core standards were here, and we needed to roll them out for English learners. So how are we going to do that? So as we began to look and study the Common Core standards, we were looking at, first of all, what was the impact going to be for our English learners? So you look at, in the nation, we have over 10%, State of California over 21%, San Diego County over 22%. So then what we did is we partnered up with 3 districts that have the largest population of English learners. Chula Vista, 34.8%, San Isidro, as you can see at the bottom, 65%, and San Diego Unified, 26%. So these are the 3 target school districts that our project has partnered with to ensure that we are preparing teachers both before they get out into the classrooms and also in-service teachers. Okay? So when we started to look at this, we started to look at what was the need. And so it was like a maze. And we started, where do we begin? So we decided to begin where it starts, and that is with, first we need to prepare faculty that are preparing the teachers that go out into the classrooms, because we always want to just go to the classrooms where the teachers are, but then if we don't change the pipeline, then we're going to continue to have the problem of not having teachers that are ready to work with our English learners. So we started a professional development program for faculty, for current teachers, as well as for future teachers. So what it became was a triangular model where we decided to work with the faculty that were willing to learn. So again, it was more of a voluntary situation where we invited faculty to come, but they were not obligated to come, because as you know, in the university, we know everything. Okay, so we did have faculty that participated, and then we ended up working with pre-service teachers. If you look at the center circle, we have what it looks like is a triangular model of we start with faculty, then the pre-service teachers, in-service teachers, and we're going to talk to you about the data that we've collected as far as that. So the most important thing is, who is the team? And so the team member that has made this all happen here, my partner is Silvia, and you can see her picture right there. And these are all the other people that are part of the project that have worked really hard to make this happen. We have our evaluators, our recruiters, our coordinators, and just everyone that's working really hard. And they all wanted to be here today, but people are celebrating Valentine's weekend. As far as collaborators, we have some key leaders and representatives from the school districts. And this is where I would like for my colleague Silvia to chime in, because the way that this started, again, we were going to start with the faculty, but then we stopped and we said, wait a minute. First, we need to have a group, an activity, a collaborators activity retreat, where we all come together as a community, as faculty members, teachers, administrators, and begin to talk about what is it that informs your thinking about how we work with English learners. So what we have there is, just a think tank where we all got together. It was a retreat, and everyone brought their research. We said, what article would you recommend that other people read that informs your thinking about how to work with English learners? So everyone came in, and we had this small dialogue. So Silvia, do you want to share a little bit about how that went?
And of course, one of the important things of launching a project is that you take into account the stakeholders, not just on paper, but to really listen to their voices. And our stakeholders, the districts that we serve, were very clear in promoting biliteracy, in making sure that that we were working with the Common Core English, the Common Core in Espanol, making sure that the pre-service teachers were being trained to really move to the 21st century, high order thinking skills, depth of complexity, and all these new things that were happening, as well as the dual language methodologies. And so that gave us an incredible amount of strength, because it was the districts were calling for what type of teacher, what type of capacities they needed us to foster in these wonderful young student teachers. And so that's how we designed the whole project. And with that in mind, we also had to think about our faculty, thinking, well, are we ready? What do we know? And we were in a situation where we had a Common Core rolling into the state, but we were also in development of the new ELD standards. So it almost felt like, oh my gosh, we are having to, build the airplane and fly it at the same time. So we all studied. We spent our time studying the guiding documents, understanding and making critical meaning of what it was that we had to do in order to prepare the teachers. And it was a great collaboration effort, because the teachers that were already in the classrooms were also engaging in this study and wanting to know more about Common Core in Espanol, and our new ELD standards.
Thank you, Silvia. And so one of the things that became really evident to all of us as we researched and studied the standards was that there were only 2 pages that were dedicated to how to work with English learners. And basically is take them aside and give them an extra dosage. Well, we were not going to stand for that. So our research question was that propelled the whole study was, how can teacher education programs ensure that pre-service teachers graduate with the requisite knowledge and skills to provide English learners access to the Common Core standards? So that has been the driving force in how this project has been run throughout this first couple of years. The second research question that we are studying is, how can colleges of education support in-service teachers and local education agencies in their efforts to implement the Common Core standards and the new California ELD standards? Question 3 of the research study is, what processes are colleges of education and faculties engaging in order to revise syllabi to meet California's new Common Core standards and ELD standards? And I'll tell you that the toughest part is always working with faculty, because for faculty members and professors that supposedly are the experts in certain areas to come to the table and say, you know what, I need to learn more. It was a real humbling experience, and it was a really beautiful experience, and also that they were willing to learn from our county office experts and other teachers that are in the field as well. So this is what the journey looks like. The faculty journey, which is what I'm going to focus on first, because we had to start at the beginning, was that we held a conference. We figured, let's kick it off with a conference. And so we did an annual conference for the Project Core stakeholders. And then what that did is that it increased the capacity and the buy-in to address the Common Core standards and the ELD standards. You know, sometimes we get so pessimistic and we just go like, oh yeah, it's just another one of those waves and it will come and it will go. But the problem is, yes, waves come and go, but if we always wait till the last minute to begin to address the issues of, you know, how do we work with English learners, then again, the achievement gap continues to grow and grow with this population. So again, we said we're going to take it head on. The other thing that we did once we did the kickoff of the conference was that we held periodic workshops for the faculty participants. And that helped to increase their capacity to coordinate teacher education courses with the ELD standards and the Common Core standards. So this was our kickoff. And some of you have seen probably Laura Olson. She's here at the conference presenting. So we invited her to come, and we had 75 attendees that were faculty members, county and district leaders, teachers and students. And what we did was we were able to together go back and talk about what work needs to be done in order for our students to have the access to this rigor of the Common Core standards. So in the kickoff symposium, what happened is that a lot of our teachers, a lot of our district leaders came, and we said the first thing we have to do is develop a common language. And part of that common language is that we began to look at working with English learners differently, and not look at it as like, oh, okay, what are we gonna do special for them? But looking at it as let's capitalize on the richness of their biculturalism and their biliteracy. And that's where Common Core in Espanol, and I don't know how many of you know, but Silvia, sitting next to me, is the author of Common Core in Espanol. So we were able to really, you know, plug that in and let them know that this is part of making sure that our students are successful, is looking at the biliteracy component of it. Okay.
Yeah, I do want to say something. Let me see. I do want to clarify that I'm not the author of Common Core en Español. The Common Core en Español belongs to the CCSSO. And what we did was we had a collaboration between the San Diego County Office of Education, the CCSSO, and the California Department of Education. And together we worked on the official translation and linguistic augmentation. But I was honored to coordinate that project. And I'm happy to announce that it's pretty much completed. We did not only the language arts, but we also did matemáticas en español. So if you go to Common Core, if you just Google Common Core en español, you will go to the website where you can download the CCSSO national states version, and also the explicit California version of the both the math and language arts. But it was a collaboration. I don't.
Okay, I made her the author.
Made me the author.
Thank you. Okay, so this is how the faculty workshops took place. We were looking at the architecture, particularly of the language arts component of the Common Core standards, and we were looking at the alignment of how the Common Core standards were aligned to the ELD standards that we have here in California. And as a matter of fact, Silvia and I both sat on the panel that developed the ELD standards. So we were just getting our hands in the mud throughout the whole process to make sure that we were able to bring our students, information that was very, very current, and that we were able to be at the table to speak about. Because students really love it when we say, we were there in Sacramento, making sure that we address this, and they just feel so empowered that they're getting the information directly from people that are working at different levels. So what we talked about with the faculty is, where are we? And we started to collect some quantitative data. Again, like I told you before, and I learned this from a colleague of mine. He says, Cristina, if you don't document the data, it did not happen. So I'm so glad that we are collecting our data. So this is what happened with our faculty members. We asked them the question of, what is your knowledge base of the Common Core standards shifts, and from the old standards to the new standards? And if you see this, the blue is basic. So in the pre-test, they felt that their knowledge was very basic. And you have to understand, this takes a lot for our faculty. I was very, very proud of our faculty that they come and say, we don't know that much, we really don't. We need to learn about this. And again, remember, these are the people that are preparing our teachers that are out there in the schools. So the post-test that you see on the right, you see that there's a big difference. So the magenta color is that they felt competent, and then a short number also felt that they were proficient, very few experts. So for us to understand this, and we said, okay, then we've got some more work to do. So then what we did is we started to look at the EL, that was just the knowledge of the Common Core standards. The same thing with the ELD standards, and I'm not gonna just really belabor this point, but if you just look at the difference between those that, in the magenta, that it gets bigger, that's what we're looking at, that we're making progress, so we were making progress in that area. And then we also looked at if they understood the proficiency levels, because now we have different proficiency levels for the ELD standards, and making sure, do you understand what those proficiency levels are? So here, again, you see a huge difference from at the very beginning. Look at the turquoise color was basic, and then we had the pre-post test that they felt more competent with the workshops that we were able to provide for them. So then we said, okay, well, we need to even go deeper. So we decided to have another conference because they really said, we need more information, we need more cutting edge information. So Kenji Hakuda with Understanding Language teamed up with us, and we said, why don't we bring everybody that's working on this together for one conference? We were just gonna do it for San Diego County because that's where the project is, but it just caught on fire, and people from all over the state came, and deans from all the different universities also attended the conference because they felt that they needed to learn about this. So Lupita Alcala, that's right there, she's the Deputy Superintendent of Instruction for the California State University, no, for California Department of Education, excuse me. So these were our keynotes and our highlights, and we had over 300 people that attended, and many people that still wanted to attend, but we couldn't take any more. We were up to capacity. So the conference topics that we had there are all there. It was the Common Core ELA, Common Core Math, Principal Leadership, Next Generation Science Standards, ELD Framework, and the end is Common Core en Español. So you can see which were the most attended. Basically, that's what that graph is. And you see Common Core en Español? People need to know, it's what are we doing for our bilingual students? So, and again, that was Silvia presenting at that conference.
Well, the thing that really that can be really pointed out is that our districts are serious about the outcome of biliteracy. Our districts are serious about that vision for the 21st century and the value of really having English and another world language. So that was very affirming, and it's really wonderful to see the faculty embrace this concept, as well as the districts, as well as the county office. And I think that the real strength is that we are all committed to working together in order to forge this vision of biliteracy. And of course, spearheaded by the California State Department of Education, which, as you probably already know, has the seal of biliteracy. So if we are going to be providing that seal of biliteracy for our graduates, we want to have teachers that are ready to prepare the students and to engage in the dual language context.
Thank you, exactly. So once again, after this next conference, it was very, very clear to us that we needed to do more work with our faculty. So we started to plan some support groups. And again, this whole issue that we were talking, just people understanding. Yesterday we had a conference in this room, and we were talking about how universities really need to look at, when we prepare teachers to work with English learners, they have to understand the biliteracy component, that it's part of it, that it's not just something that you do if you choose to do it, but that our students are bilingual learners. Okay, so anyway, so we've been working with our faculty in trying to just impress this upon them. So we went through a whole revision process where faculty submitted their syllabi, and we looked at it and we said, okay, you really need to beef it up. So they did. They went through a whole process, and they were looking at the course description. We looked at the course format. We looked at their materials that they were using, their assignments, how they assessed them, and just the overall coherence with the ELD standards and the Common Core. So who participated? Again, this was voluntary, but we had people from education technology, people from language arts, multicultural education. And it was really interesting because we had, for example, the teacher from educational technology. She goes, well, I really don't teach methods. But I said, but when you're teaching technology, you need to take into account that you have English learners and that you have to offer the rigor to them. So she did an amazing job, and here's an example of the way that we did it. So the original course description would be on that side, and we would tell them, your course description did not address how it relates to the Common Core standards. It doesn't address the needs of diverse learners. So then they had to go back, and then she would, I'm not gonna read this to you, but on the right, we would tell them, okay, this is what the revised portion of it is. So what they did was they rewrote it, and it's, look at the bottom part. This course will also address how to design instructional materials for learners from diverse language and cultural backgrounds, for instance, English learners. This is a technology class, where in technology, they never think about what's going on with the English learners. So we feel that it made a lot of impact. Another one that we were looking at was the committee review. We said, you mentioned Common Core. Oh, because some people started to just throw in the keywords, like Common Core en Español or ELD, but then there was nothing that evolved it. So this one we said, this was a comment that we gave her. We said, you mentioned Common Core en Español, but not the Common Core standards or the ELD standards. We suggest a class session dedicated to unpacking the relationship between Common Core en Español, the Common Core standards, and the ELD standards. For example, why is Common Core en Español not a direct translation from the Common Core standards? Because that's key, and they need to know that. So we were, can you address that? So people were going back and addressing, but they came through, and we have some wonderful syllabi. So right now, other universities are inquiring about what we did here, and we are able to offer them sample syllabi of what our faculty is doing. So it's going now throughout the state, so we're very happy about that.
Because if we really want to transform education for English learners, we need to use the guiding documents in a way that we make them come alive. And it has to be that, learning English as an additional language cannot be something on the side, or it can't be something that is not actually considered from the foundation of whatever it is that you are developing. So I think that it's really important to note that people were willing, and this took a lot of courage, people were willing to say, okay, if we're really going towards Common Core, if we really have the time to transition towards Common Core, we need to start with a new blueprint. And that blueprint put English learners at the center. That's what the state framework has done, put English learners at the center, and then grow from there. And so all of our documents have to reflect that reality, that we have children that come to our state with many world languages that we need to consider that they are learning English, learning in English, and learning about English, and also maintaining their primary languages as incredible assets to themselves, to the state, and to the nation. So it's really a shift of paradigm that we had intellectually known about before, but I think that San Diego State is really leading the idea that we are going to really transform education for English learners, and they have said we are committed to doing this from how we prepare the teachers that are then going to go to service the children and the districts, so that they come with that paradigm shift. But everybody has to engage in that paradigm shift. And the unique thing about this project is that you have the university, the county office, a staff development working together with the school districts. And that is really the dynamic that is holding our alliance and our commitment to, in place very strongly.
Exactly, and I remember when we were initiating the whole process of this project, Silvia would say, we have to break down the silos. It can't be the university doing their own thing, and then when they get to the school, they go, oh, everything that I learned at the university has nothing to do with what the reality is, and then the County Office of Education having to intervene to do some quick professional development for teachers. So it's kind of working smarter, and it's just really developing these relationships with the people that are in the trenches, and then looking at the theory that informs that practice. So again, I think Silvia just described the triangular model again, but so then once we got the faculty all set, that was the first year, we dedicated ourselves to just getting the faculty aligned to what we needed to do. Then we established a whole series of institutes for our pre-service teachers. So they come in, and we said, okay, not only are you going to get the methodology from your methods courses in the credential program, but you're gonna have some additional institutes on Fridays, and we are going to be focusing very, very specifically on how to unpack the standards. So I forgot to mention to you, at the bottom of all the slides, we have comments. These are the qualitative comments from our teachers and faculty members that we're just saying different things. Like this one, it says, I feel that I am well prepared because I know how to provide that embedded scaffold support which all of my students can benefit from regardless of their cultural backgrounds. That was Natalie, a faculty participant, pre-service participant. But I'm going to turn it over to Silvia because she has been the one to organize the whole institutes for our pre-service teachers, because she's out there in the trenches working with our professional development with in-service teachers, so she brings it now to our pre-service teachers. So I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Silvia for this part.
Yes, it's been quite a joy to engage with the pre-service teachers. I usually do staff development with teachers that are already in the classroom and they're working. And again, it was one of the biggest needs was to really engage in meaning making of these new documents that were coming, that we were getting, and really transforming our education for the English learners. So we were able to create like the syllabi and the course outline, so that every month we meet with the special cadre of teachers, of pre-service teachers, and we actually are teaching them how to design the lessons. We have a wonderful template that was created that we can integrate the Common Core objectives, the ELD objectives by levels of language acquisition, the idea of skill transference, Spanish and English, and these beautiful pre-service teachers are engaged in all of this. They go to the classrooms and they see what the teachers are doing, and then they come and they work. They actually construct all these things. They take them back to the classroom, and it has been a real joy to see how the products go from what we create here to the classroom, informed by actual classroom practice, back to our in-services and polished up and redefined. So the path is made by walking it, and we're doing that. We are wanting to make sure that the rigor of the instruction stays really high, but that we provide access to that rigor. You can't just say, rigorous instruction and all of this, and then not provide the access to that rigor. So that takes a lot of cognitive planning, and we need to engage in that cognitive planning. And we have the privilege of, again, taking it to the classroom and be able to cycle it around so we refine the work. And so it's an incredible dynamic process. We, of course, have the idea that the teachers need to actually learn about the standards and learn about the deconstruction of the ELA standards, right? They need to deconstruct the ELD standards and know how to put these together. And that has been one of the things that we really are learning to do. It's easier said than done when the state and the call is for the standards to work in tandem with one another. But then at the same time, there is integrated ELD that you're doing with your whole class in your ELA classroom. And then there's also a separate sacred time for actually doing designated ELD. So what do you teach here? What do you teach over there? And how do you monitor students' learning so that you know what it is that you're going to do in the designated ELD class so that it actually services the students in their larger context, whether it's content or actual language development.
I just want to say something. Exactly what Silvia just said is what our students were able to say when they went for their jobs. I would receive so many emails, and this is our qualitative data, because now, I don't know if they do this in all states, but in California, people are interviewed in panels, maybe 4 or 5 teachers, and they would ask them about Common Core standards, or how do you make it accessible to English learners, and they were able to articulate exactly what Silvia said, and all the people would come back and they go, and all the other teachers that were interviewing, they would just look at us like, where did you learn that? How do you know that? And principals that were interviewing our teachers would say, our staff doesn't even know that. And so a lot of our students, that brand new teachers, are right now serving as coaches, as literacy coaches in their schools, because they have this specialized preparation.
And it's wonderful to see how they embraced it. It was, I remember going to school and having to do planning and lesson planning and all of this. Well, these teachers are challenged by it, and they really are embracing it. This new generation of teachers are so wonderful. They're so technologically savvy, and with the technology, you saw that technology syllabus. The idea is, well, how does technology help us access this higher rigor for English learners? How can we integrate primary language so that the students have access, and then they transfer that knowledge into English, and then they have all of this in 2 languages? How could that not happen? How could we not use that? How can we not invite that dynamic into the classroom? And why shouldn't all students do that? So they are very consciously work with the whole idea of critical pedagogy, the 21st century skills, all these things, but they're actually actualizing them.
These are the in-service now.
Yes, and these are the in-service data that we're getting, like the before and after, and you can see how they feel that they have grown a lot. And like Cristina mentioned, not a month, not even 2 weeks after they go out to an interview, they're all being hired. So
In your packets, well, this was handed out to you, since we're talking about
Yes.
in-service, I want to invite you to look at what we have here. Two things. For those of you that are from California, well, from San Diego County, this one offers you a scholarship through our grant to earn either a dual language certificate or an English language development certificate. So that's available to our students, and they get a very healthy scholarship of $3,000. And if they decide to go on to their master's, they get an additional $4,000, so $7,000 total. This here, the one with the blue, is an online certificate program that is open to the nation to participate. So because what we have realized is that the the bilingual credential is not sufficient to work in high rigorous dual language programs. So we offer additional preparation through this as well. So now we have an online component that teachers will be able to participate in. So we wanted to just call your attention to that. And also, the website that we have here, if we have time, we'll go to our website so we can navigate through it, because we have lots of rich resources there. Everything that we've learned, everything that we use is uploaded there. So this website is right there. Okay.
So really, if you are in a university, we encourage you to seek out a partnership with your county office and your districts, and do this collaborative, because this is the time. This is the time that that will enable us to forge better alliances and really articulate what needs to happen so that there is a mechanism of change, and we become the agents of that change.
So being the agent of the change, I want you to notice what's happening here with these in-service teachers. So now these are teachers that have been teaching for a while, and we invited them and said, would you like to come and further and deepen your knowledge, your theoretical and in your pedagogical knowledge? And they had to, for their final project, they create a research study about, and most of them did it on dual language, and a few did it just preparing English learners better. And here's a comment of one of the teachers: I obtained strategies and resources that I can take back to the classroom, school site, and implement and gain further knowledge in the area of dual language. This was Carlitos, one of our in-service teachers. But we had a whole session where they were able to showcase their research projects, where they had to come up with a methodology, they had to come up with a question. So we're trying to prepare our teachers to be the ones that are going to be the researchers, so the teacher scholars, because personally, I really feel that the research has to be more of a teacher insider research than just a theorist talking about what dual language should look like in the classroom, where they're the ones that are doing it. So this is a very, very important part of the project, and the online component that we are going to be offering also is going to have this research part, because we want them to be the ones that are going to be the contributors to the next generation of research. Okay, so in year 3, what we did was, we are right now in year 3. These are our next steps. We want to go ahead and open it up for questions once I finish this. But it was preparing the faculty. In so many sessions that we go to as far as what can we do better to work with English learners, faculty is always, no one ever thinks of faculty. And we have to, if we're going to be looking at this, as Silvia said, we got to break down the silos. We have to include the faculty. We look at the pre-service, we look at the in-service, and now this year is where we're opening up our master's program through the project, so that, and then of course the next step hopefully will be that our students will go on for PhDs, and we are preparing them as researchers, because what we tell our students that just graduated, we go, that's it, you have your thesis for your doctorate, just continue it. And they go, really? Is that, you demystify it. And they're able to see themselves as the researchers that we need to continue to provide this. So at this point, Silvia, unless you want to add anything, do you want to?
Well, no, I just want to reemphasize the power of being able to really build teacher capacity. because we look at these young teachers that come in and we see them with a long-term vision. These are the leaders that are going to maintain and sustain these transformative pedagogies and transform the system itself. And in order for that to happen, you really need to have a large cadre of educated people that understand biliteracy, that understand where we need to go in the 21st century. And that machinery starts with teacher preparation. And it continues through engagement with the districts, with the county offices, with all the initiatives that come and go and come and evolve our understanding of pedagogies and how to serve our children. So we look at these pre-teachers and we say, there's our superintendents, there's our county office people for the near future. It's not even that far away future. So we are building our system's capacity to really produce the education that we need for the 21st century, for English learners and for all students.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Great.
Okay. And please, we would like to make sure that you do visit our website because it's a very rich website. Let me see if I can go to it.
We have actually posted everything that we have done on the web page. So if you are thinking about engaging in something like this, wherever it is that you are, and you can see any strength from anything that we have developed or done, we want to encourage you to use it, to develop it further, to contact us, so we can support you in your efforts.
I'm trying to see if I can get to the,
To the internet?
here, I think I have it.
Oh,
Hachiko.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Oops. So this is our website, and we have our area of resources here, and we have all of our conference presentation materials. We have lesson plan templates, handouts of everything that we've done. We have films, webinars, additional resources. Oh, it's not.
Oh,
What happened?
we need help, but I think,
I'm sorry, I was going through all this.
let me see. You go here and then it's something about the displays, right?
Oh, the
Okay,
display.
and then
Okay,
you go
sorry
ch-
about that.
Okay.
Only I could see it, huh?
See here if we go.
I was happy that I got it.
Yeah, that's great. And you can almost see it over there,
Oh,
but.
right. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the Mac.
Okay, so let me see. I think that, let me go escape this for a second. Okay, just 1 second. I think that if we go to this and you go to system preferences, then you go to displays,
There you go.
then you go to mirror, and we need to go to mirroring arrangement. Let me see, display.
Go here, resolution.
Wait, let me see, arrangement.
Oh, mirror
Mirror
displays, there you go.
displays.
There you go, now you're there.
Then we're there. Are we there?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, you guys. I am so
Technology,
excited.
yeah.
I am like, okay, breakthrough.
Okay, so let me start over because I started to just tell you, okay. So this is the website and you have it there. So we have our home and gives you pretty much who we are and who to contact if you want information. The programs that we have, the certificate program, the master's degree program, the credential program, and then just questions, FAQs that come in. The events that we have, or that we've had, and the participants, resources. So this area of resources is where I was pointing you out to because that's where a lot of people like to go.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of hits on this part. But, just conferences, we have handouts, we have PowerPoints, we have lesson plan templates for making sure that people are able to plan accordingly. And then we have questions, and we have resources, sites to go to. We have films, webinars. That's what I wanted to get to. We have webinars, and we're always continuing to work on just uploading more and more that additional resources. Okay. And then we also connect you to the San Diego County Office of Education, to the dual language directory, to the Common Core and Espanol standards, to the English language development standards.
Go there, check it out. So does it go there with
Which
your
one?
hot link? Common Core en Español, do you have
Let me
that?
see, where is it?
No, that's not, you don't have it.
Oh.
Okay, the Common Core en Español site went down and then it just came back up yesterday, so probably it didn't link.
Okay, I thought we had it.
Yeah, we do. I don't see it there, but we do.
Yeah.
We can also go to it, but if you just Google Common Core en Español, you'll get to the site.
Okay. Yeah, so, so that's what we have there, and
Do you wanna Google to Common Core en Español?
go ahead and do it.
Let's see, let me see if it works. I mean, okay, so that you can see that, let me see, I'm just gonna. See, is it there? Yeah, so Common Core en Español and. And again, you see that this is what I was telling you about, that this here, CCSS en Español, is national, and CC en Español, this is California. So remember that each state gets to change a little bit of the Common Core standards, 15%. So to give it an emphasis that the local states want. So if you go to, let's say, Common Core en Español, you come down here, and you have the Common Core en Español. You get any grade level. Oh, this is cool. And it will come up, right? And you can download it. You can download them. So
I think if you click on,
if you click on this,
and then say trust.
trust, and then it will actually do it. Okay, it
Technology.
wasn't trusting it before.
You have to trust it.
And so these are free. You can download them. Ooh, this is pretty big. Okay, but I'm not gonna mess with it. Let's see. It's here, but you can see primer grado. And then what we have done is we did a, I know that we can view it smaller, but I just want to show you how it's done. I don't know, I'm not gonna, it's in both languages. It's a side-by-side version. So I'm gonna go quickly down to, it has, the preface, the people who worked on this, the validation process, and I'm scrolling down really quick. And as you can see, it has the anchor standards, and then you see the literature standards over here. You see estándares de lectura, and they're there side by side, ideas claves y detalles. This is first grade, so that's how you see it. Okay. Also, in the site, let me go back and see if this works. Yay. We also have something that I want to point out for people who, we're in the construction of Appendix A, Appendix B, and Appendix C, but we also have the recommended, we're also in the process of doing the text and tasks. So you could go to the literature text, you could go click on a book, and you see about it, and then you can also get the task that was associated with that book, just like they have in English. We also have recommended resources, and one of the resources I want to point out is this Santillana. They did this Appendix B, where they took all the Common Core exemplars in English. They provided the equivalent
exemplars in Spanish. This is going to be extremely valuable for the high school students that are engaging in Spanish literature. They have all the texts that are in English for the exemplar text in grades K through 12 we also have an equivalent text in Spanish, and the classics, of course, we have those as well. This is a huge document, but it would be the first thing I would download. Because we want to make sure that we have, like for instance, if in English they're studying, let's say, something like William Shakespeare, well, in Spanish we have William Shakespeare translated, but we also have Miguel Cervantes. You see what I'm saying? So that they have it thought out really, really wonderfully, so that we can have it available for the teachers. So this is what this document looks like, and Santillana, as you know, is the largest Spanish language publisher in the world, and they have a Santillana USA services the United States, and they have immediately, done this solution package of looking at all the literature in Spanish and making sure that teachers have this higher rigor literature for the students, and also informational text. So I just wanted to make sure that we know, because as we're engaging in all this, we don't want to say, oh, well, we don't have the resources in Spanish. We don't have the resources for that rigor and that equity, and we do, okay? So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that pretty much concludes our session today, and unless you have any questions, but please, we invite you to visit our website, and we are going to continue to add more and more resources. But make sure that you also take a look at the ELD standards and how those align to the Common Core, and most importantly, look at those proficiency levels and how they work side by side with the Common Core in Espanol. Thank you.